Wow! We're out here in Locks today, and I'm going to teach you the most important steps and techniques involved in doing both the front side 270 out from a box or rail and backside or blind side 270 out from a box or rail. So we got a lot to cover, so let's hit it. Oh no, this is where I keep my thoughts and tips, my good tips. Now they're all wet, my advice on 270, so yeah, sorry. Before you even think about doing a frontside 270 out, make sure that you can slide a box comfortably, get off to straight, get off to switch with rotation on. Once you got that down, it's time to start practicing this technique for the 270 out. And I think you should start in your ski boots like this. So I'm standing here, I'm pretending I have a box here. You can draw a line if you want to. And I'm pretending to rotate on it. And I land with the heel down. Then land, and then as you're on the box, you can wind up a little bit like that. And then set it off in the opposite direction. Show you a couple of times closer.
Since there are a lot of things going on here, it's really important to do this several times so you get used to that. Rotation on, lock it, wind up, and then set it off again.
You can also try to do what I'm doing now, jump on it, but you land on the heel on the front foot and the toe on the back foot. And that feels quite a lot like the way it does on a rail.
Only do this if you feel ready to try this off a rail. And especially notice the back foot, because it gets quite tricky doing it this way.
The first feature to start practicing your front and or backside 270 out should be flat. And if you're not so comfortable with the rails, start with a box, but the rails are actually easier. Don't only do this if it's not too busy of a feature. Try to find a place like here. I'm alone. Practice the lock in combination with pop and rotation. This is a little bit tricky in the beginning, so take your time and do several attempts. So flat that I can just stand here and I have the edge of the box right in the middle of my ski boot. So imagine you have rotated on the box, you land, get that heel down, you see the nose is coming up then, and then from here you got to set it off just like a normal spin. So I'm locking, make sure you get a decent amount of hang time out. That's a 270 out, and this is going to be easier if the feature is higher and if it's a rounded feature like a tube, etc. You can use both feet, not just the front feet, to pop the frontside 270 out.
Notice how that ski goes down and then has a nice pop off the box. Once you've done that, you're ready to hit it. Make sure that you rotate on the box and don't rely on counter rotation. This will help you to wind up and set off a quicker rotation off.
If you got down some 270s off the flat box, I recommend you could try a fat tube like the one behind me. So something like so. This is wonderful, absolutely wonderful to 2 out. One of the most common mistakes people do when trying to get the locks down is that they lock too hard. You spin on the box and then just lock really hard. That's going to make you get a rail or box between your legs before you reach the end of the box. So what you could do is that you rotate on for the front side, just lock a little bit, maybe even put it down in the middle. Then at the end, lock more when you want to set off that rotation and pop out. Pay attention, not over lock, block or scissor.
So in this feature I'm now a little bit more patient and locks more at the end. Imagine if I have the same mistake on this feature. That is why I have no lock sliding up and start locking only on the way down.
I'm just about to hit a slightly steeper rail, and when it's steeper you tend to have to pop more out. What is important here is that you're not locking like this by having a fully straight front leg. A lot of people try to lock like that, that's not so good. Bring the feet together and try to stand perpendicular to the rail and you pop off both legs, just like this. Then you can optimize how to look. So on the frontside 270, you can look towards the landing and spin a whole 270 without ever stop watching the landing. That is great if you want to hit the next feature switch. But it could also be a good idea to do a frontside 270, then look up the mountain and then continue looking down. Because then your head sort of makes a frontside 450 out while the body is doing front 2. And that is great, because then you really get used to it slowly while you have to, like, you don't really have to increase the risk you take.
Once you get your eyes around more direction of 450, all you gotta do is spin a little bit faster and those feet are gonna come around as well.
Another obvious way you can optimize your 270s out is to do it the other way around, so unnatural. Optimize and challenge yourself when doing your frontside 270s out from different features. Flat ones, steep ones, skinny ones and fat ones.
And the better you get, the more steezy you're gonna look when popping the 2 out. Well, that was a lot of front 2s. Maybe you should have a look at the backside 270s, or blind as they're also called.
Before you even think about doing a backside 270 out, you should be able to slide a box or rail or tube rather well to switch. Ideally, you should also practice locking a little bit to increase that rotation off, but here I'm going to show you how that's done. Anyway, I suggest actually that you don't rotate on to make it more difficult, because you can rotate on the box and then just keep rotating the whole 270. That is cheating, in my opinion. So I would recommend in the beginning that you counter rotate on the box, so you twist the legs while the upper body is facing down the mountain. Then you push the toe down and set off a quick rotation out. So I counter rotate on, get the toes down. Front foot's heel goes up, back foot's toes goes up. And if you learn to use both legs, you're gonna have a really snappy rotation out.
To get the timing right between the counter rotation, lock and pop, try several times.
For the backside 270 out, you gotta be on the other side of the feature, so the toes are on the outside. This is so you can get the toes down and you get that lock. And as always, this is much easier to do on a rail or tube. So let's imagine we've jumped on this feature with counter rotation, so the upper body is pointing down, skis pointing across, toes outside, get the toe down. So we're here, lock it. Whoa, that was exciting. Something that's important to do with the backside 270 out is that you lift the toes up and the noses. Otherwise you can smack the noses into the box at the end. Also, having a lot of speed could help with this. Let's try a couple more.
Since that front foot's nose really goes down, that is why it could hit the box if I didn't have such a strong pop.
Check it out.
So just spin quickly off. You really have to use a counter rotation on, so you land and then you lock, pop and swing them arms around.
Counter rotate.
Once you're comfortable with the boxes, I suggest you take it to a nice flat tube like this one. Oh, a cheeky 450.
To optimize your backside 270 lock, so that you later on can learn 2-arm prets too, you can always do switch lip on, so you're rotating on and you really have to stop that rotation with the lock block or scissoring technique and then set off the rotation in the opposite direction, just like this. And with the backside 270 out, remember you gotta lift those tips up and toes so they don't, smack into the rail. And one way you can make it easier for yourself is to come in with more speed. You can also just pop higher. That's also gonna minimize the risk of that happening. And at the end of the day, remember you also got to learn how to do all of this the unnatural way, so do it with the other foot first.
If you're getting comfortable with your backside 270s out, I suggest you start trying it on different features. Flat ones, steep ones, high ones, kinked ones, and all of that good stuff. Oh, we got to the point in the video where I've gotten quite tired of watching myself do 270s. So here's an outro.
Hope you enjoyed learning how to 270 out. If you did, remember to give it a little like and subscribe. It means the world to us. If you want to learn from our in-depth online courses, we got some of them over on the website, or come here to Switzerland and learn straight away from me and my great coaches. Anyway, see you in the next one. Ciao.